Okay, so I kind of just realized that um, I have a few videos explaining my TBP model, but I haven't really made a dedicated video explaining uh, and like showing the most recent version, which is this. So I'm gonna do that right now. So here it is. Yeah, I mean I've shown this in a few videos recently, but yeah, in this video I'm just gonna. I mean I've already basically made a video dedicated to this model. I did one recently about 5 days ago, but I've since updated it. I used ChatGPT a little bit to like make it more symmetrical, and then I added some stuff down here. So anyway, this is the model. Now the TBP model, it stands for trauma-based psychopathology, and it's essentially a theory of all mental disorders, or a theory of all psychopathologies. Um, yeah, I mean that's what it is. Essentially, I've attempted to identify the underlying pattern that is common across all mental disorders, right? Um, or technically speaking, all psychopathologies, because even, well, I mean, like there can be certain temporary, like, mental problems that aren't exactly mental disorders, but they are like psychopathologies. For example, like, I mean, like someone could go through a period of their life where they, um, just like, I guess, steal, for example. I mean, like sort of chronic or like compulsive, I should say, compulsive stealing. But then they kind of just like grow out of it or like mature out of it. So it's not exactly like a mental disorder, but it is kind of like a psychopathology because, I mean, it's something that sort of gets out of hand. Anyway, so so let's go through this now. Now you can either start at the top or the bottom of this sort of diamond shape diagram. I think it makes most sense to start from the bottom, so that's where we're going to start. So at the bottom we have trauma occurs either through a single event or over time, and it's important to note that the trauma first affects either the body or mind. However, it eventually inevitably affects both, since the body and mind are inextricably linked. So, it's, I mean, we are both physical and non-physical beings, obviously, and so, the body affects the mind and the mind affects the body, and there's no getting past that or getting around that, and so it's important to keep in mind. Now, from that, one of two things can, like trauma can become a part of us. We could say it can negatively affect us in one of two ways, right? So it can either enter the body first or the mind. So if it enters the body, then I'm gonna take these headphones off because I may as well. Essentially, like, negative energy enters the body. So yeah, I'll start with the left-hand side. Negative energy enters the body. That negative energy eventually disrupts physiological functioning. So essentially, how our physical body, kind of the structure, I guess, of our physical body or our physiology, that negative energy disrupts that otherwise healthy structure. And the consequence of that is that the body ends up believing an untruth. Now, when I say the body believes an untruth, I essentially mean the body begins functioning in a manner that it would need to if something were the case, if something were true. However, that thing is actually not true, but the body doesn't know this, and so it still functions in this manner, in an unhealthy manner. And I mean, that's not good, but that's what trauma does. And essentially the idea is that at the root of every like at the root or at the base of every psychopathology is a false belief or a set of false beliefs, but ultimately, I mean, a central false belief, right? There's like one central false belief, and there may be multiple false beliefs, but they're all based kind of surrounding or based upon that central false belief. So the body believes in untruth, and because the body ends up believing in untruth, the chakra system ends up functioning unnaturally because of the fact that the physiology is disrupted, or the physical body is not working properly. And so the consequence of that is that energy cannot flow naturally, and then that leads to a like what emerges from that is a psychopathology. So anyway, so that's the left-hand side. It's the thing about like chakras. Chakras are very real. It's tough to prove scientifically. Like I imagine, hopefully at some point we'll develop the technology to be able to actually see chakras. I think it has to be possible. I mean, look at what we've done with technology. I think it's got to be possible. But they're certainly real. I've talked about that a bit more at length in other places. So, I won't get too deep into how I know they're real. I'm like 99.99% sure. Like I'm almost 100% sure that they're real. So, yeah. And that's the thing. Like I feel like that's one major sort of fact that's hindering our progress towards figuring out various mental disorders is we don't act as if chakras exist when it comes to looking at mental disorders and trying to figure out how to best treat them or how to cure them if we can, which it's my conviction that any psychopathology is curable, simply due to the fact or because of the fact that it has an origin. Even if it goes all the way back to like 2 generations before you, it still had an origin. And even if there's a genetic component, it still has an origin. And the thing about genes is that they change in response to our environment. So it's not like, oh, it's genetic, there's nothing we can do about it. No, it's like, for certain mental disorders, possibly like something like autism. But even something like autism, I think it's still technically possible to cure. It would just be very difficult. And we could at least like treat it, like come up with much more effective treatment options. Just kind of with this knowledge in mind, like knowing that chakras exist. And so, like every mental disorder or psychopathology has an origin of entropy. And so that means that they are curable, technically. Like technically they're all curable. Some of them may be extremely difficult, but technically every single one of them is curable. So anyway, and the thing about beliefs is beliefs literally shape our perception. And so, if the body believes something that's untrue, or our mind believes something that's untrue, then it's going to literally like shape our perception, which is going to shape our reality. And yeah, like that's if we're believing something false, it's going to shape our reality in a negative way, and we're going to suffer unnecessarily because of that, because our brain or body is believing in untruth. And again, ultimately they end up inevitably affecting each other because they're just so deeply connected. So anyway, now let's move on to the right side of the diagram. Also, by the way, I just made this red almost because like blood is like a big part of the body. I don't know, like I feel like it makes sense. Like lifeblood, is in the body. So anyway, and then for this purple, I don't know, it's just like felt like it made sense for the sort of the mind side of this diagram. I guess because the crown chakra is purple. But anyway, so again here at the bottom, trauma occurs, and then on the right hand side we have an untrue thought enters the mind, and eventually that untrue thought it eventually disrupts psychological functioning. Basically, like that untrue thought is eventually accepted. So I'm trying to think. Maybe I should revise both of these a little bit, because I guess technically the untrue thought is eventually accepted, which leads to a disruption in psychological functioning. yeah. So, but regardless, that untrue thought eventually disrupts, you know, the natural functioning, the natural and healthy functioning of our mind, and the result of that is that we end up believing, or our mind ends up believing an untruth, and again, beliefs shape perception, so this is not a good thing. And then after that, the physiology, again, mind and body are inextricably linked, so physiology ends up functioning unnaturally because the chakra system is disrupted. I mean, the whole function, like, or purpose of chakras is to regulate energy in the body, essentially, right? I mean, that's what they're there for. And we have a lot of chakras, like, all throughout. I mean, it's not just the seven main ones, 7 main energy centers in our body. Again, there's like it's a spinning wheel of light, I think, is the technical definition of chakra, but it's a spinning wheel, essentially. We have like 7 main ones, but then we have a bunch of other small ones. So anyway, but yeah, so like, yeah, physiology, or the physical body, like sort of the inner workings of the physical body end up functioning unnaturally because of the fact that the chakra system is disrupted. Again, like, the chakras are non-physical, the mind is non-physical, so you kind of see how that works, hopefully. Kind of the same thing here, but physical affects non-physical. And here the non-physical ends up affecting the physical. Anyway, and then, the consequence of that is just the same thing. Energy cannot flow naturally, and that leads to a psychopathology emerging. So, yeah. And then, of course, we have the 5-step formula, which naturally emerges from this diagram. So here's the 5-step formula. Oh, wait, no, this is the wrong one. Need to pull up I thought I had it pulled up. I guess not. Okay. I had to update it recently. So come on now. Come on now. Here we go. This is it right here. I guess it's technically a 3-step formula, but as far as I can tell, I mean, I don't know. I might end up revising parts of it. I've revised it a lot. I think it's like complete now. But I don't know. I very well may end up adding some more, stuff, phrases, or sentences, and or like revising, maybe adding another step. I don't know. I think it's complete, but I'm not certain. Yeah, I mean, it appears to be 3 steps. Technically just steps 1, 2, and 5. But yeah, I'm looking for feedback on this, because maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I missed something, but I don't think so. But I'm not sure. I definitely might have. So yeah, but anyway, so yeah, you can read this if you want. Yeah. So yeah, that is the formula and the TBP model. And I hope this video made sense. It's probably good that I make a bit of a shorter video explaining this. The last one was like 28 minutes. This one's like basically half that time. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Got something out of it. And yeah, I'm looking for feedback on, both the model and the formula. I am currently using the formula on myself to try to cure my OCD, or at least treat it. Really, I want to cure it, really, because I know it's curable. It seems to be working. I'll just say that. It seems to be working. We'll see what happens. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good day. Bye.